Hey everybody, welcome back to Political Access. Today let's take a look at another U.S. Senate race coming up in the midterms. Let's take a look at Arkansas. I know it's not a competitive race, but maybe you're from Arkansas. Maybe you like just hearing about some of the other races, even though they're not going to be super close. So let's get on Ballotpedia here and get a little bit of background on this race. So the incumbent U.S. Senator there is John Boozman, the Republican, and he's running for re-election to a third term. 6 years ago, he won re-election by over 23%. Prior to serving in the U.S. Senate, he did serve some time in the U.S. House. His opponent on the Democratic side is Natalie James. She's a small business owner and community advocate. So let's talk about their primaries. Well, Natalie James, she did have a semi-competitive primary. She won with 54% of the vote, and she beat out two challengers. Second place there got almost 31% of the vote. John Boozman, he did also face a primary challenger, but it was much more mild, and Boozman won with 58% of the vote, over 21% to his nearest challenger. And if you compare raw vote totals from the primaries, the Democrats had almost 92,000 votes, and Republicans had 307,000. So I don't put much weight on primary vote totals, but if you do, the Republicans had a better than 3-to-1 ratio. And with most races, there is a Libertarian candidate on the ballot, Kenneth Cates. He would most likely draw support from Boozman. Now, if you go down a little bit further here, Ballotpedia does have a question and answer section, and sometimes the candidates actually do answer them. And in this case, Natalie James, she did answer these questions. So if you're not familiar with her and want to see where she might stand, you can take a look at some of these questions here. John Boozman does not have any answers listed here on Ballotpedia. Usually that's the case when someone is more established. So let's go down here to take a look at the campaign finance. And there, John Boozman, he has quite a lot more than Natalie James. Although since this race is not expected to be competitive, Boozman is still not swamped with cash. He probably thinks he doesn't need to raise much, and I would generally tend to agree with that. Natalie James has very little cash, as you can see. And let's go down here and see how this race is rated. And all three sites, Cook, Inside Elections, and Larry Sabato, they all say solid or safe Republican. That is also my rating. I think it will be an easy, safe Republican hold over a 10-point margin for John Boozman. So let's go down farther and take a look at the county voting trends on a presidential level. And this shows us that over 80% of the population lives in 66 counties that are solid Republican. That is defined on Ballotpedia as having voted for the Republican in the last three presidential elections. So they voted for Mitt Romney, then Donald Trump, and then stuck with Donald Trump. On the other end, 19.4% of the population lives in 8 counties that are solid Democratic. Those voted for Barack Obama, then Hillary Clinton, and then Joe Biden. So that basically tells me that any political polarization in Arkansas has been set for a little while now. So if we go down here and take a look at the county map, as you can see, there is a lot of deep red here. But keep in mind here, the shading is only if they voted for the Democrat or Republican in the last 3 presidential cycles. It does not indicate margins. If you hover over a county, it'll tell you the margins in the last 3 presidential cycles. Now that's not to say that most of these counties are not deep red, because they are. Many of them voted for Donald Trump by well over 60 and 70%, as you can see. Democrats do have a little bit of strength in the state. Most of that is along the eastern part in the Arkansas Delta region, and those counties have voted for the Democrat for president, usually only in the low to mid-50s. And the other strength for the Democrats is in the most populous county, which is Pulaski. That has Little Rock, and that has trended a little bit left in recent cycles. You can see last time Joe Biden won it with 60% of the vote to Donald Trump's 37.5. Another county that is trending toward the left is Washington County. That voted for Donald Trump by under 5% last time. That area has gotten more population in the past couple decades, so that is a county that could potentially flip blue, or it could narrowly stay red. We'll have to wait and see. So let's switch over to YouTube and take a look at their channels. Here's John Boozman's channel, and he doesn't have a lot, but he's got a couple of ads on here. He also has some other clips from endorsements he has, and a couple of media appearances. If we take a look at Natalie James' channel, she has very little on here. Sure, she knows she's the extreme underdog. Maybe she'll cut an ad for the general election and put it on YouTube here, but As of now, this is looking pretty scarce. Could also take a look at their official campaign websites if you'd like. Here's John Boozman's. See where he stands on the issues. Take a look at his endorsements, etc. And here is Natalie James' site. You can see where she stands on the issues. Take a look at her media appearances, any news involving her if you'd like. So how about debates? Well, this shows you a list of all the debates federally and statewide for Arkansas that are coming up, and there will be a U.S. Senate debate October 21st. So be sure to check that one out if you're interested. So let's switch over to Wikipedia, and here you can see some endorsements. Here's a few for John Boozman. There's none on here for Natalie James. But let's take a look at the polling here. There's only two. They both show Boozman with a lead of over 10 points. 13 is the smallest of the two margins. There's a good amount undecided in that Hendricks poll. But we can compare these couple of polls to how the polls did 6 years ago. So let's go back to 2016. And that year, John Boozman won with just under 60% of the vote. Connor Eldridge had about 36%. So there's not a lot of polls here. SurveyMonkey, they put out a bunch at the end. They did underestimate Boozman a little bit and overestimated Eldridge a little bit. This University of Arkansas poll from mid to late October, that one was pretty accurate actually. It had 61% for Boozman and 38% for Eldridge. So in conclusion, John Boozman is going to win this race, probably by at least 15 points. It could even be 20 to 25 points when it's all said and done. Natalie James just does not have enough name recognition. Arkansas has become just too red of a state for the Democrats to really compete. Boozman is going to coast to victory. Natalie James appears to be the sacrificial lamb. I don't think it really even matters where she stands on the issues or what her platform is. It's just not going to be enough to overcome the Republican slant, the national environment, and Boozman's incumbency. So that is a look at this U.S. Senate race for Arkansas. So let me know in the comments. What do you think about this race? Are you following it? Is Boozman going to win by over 20 points? Let me know down below. And if you enjoy this channel, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.